So, I realized I haven't made a video in a while, and I kinda need to make one to keep my audience here. But since I was woken up this morning at 6 a.m. by a phone call from my mother, that could mean one of two things. Either it's my birthday again, or Paleo Artist Magazine published its latest story. I think last time it was like 10 new ways to make Jurassic Park dinosaurs actually look good. So, you get to see me nerd out on my favorite things in the world other than ceratopsian dinosaurs. That is, of course, elephants. These large land mammals were my obsession when I was a little kid, and they're still my favorite animals to this day. They look just so wise and powerful, almost like physical gods on Earth. Well, at least that would be the case if it wasn't for this thing. The history of elephants is definitely something interesting. They first evolved around 60 million years ago, not long after the fall of the dinosaurs. Some of the earliest members of this order, known as Proboscidea, were small pig-like animals like Merotherium and Numidotherium. Over the 60 million years they had to evolve, the Proboscideans tried new things and changed their bodies to adapt to numerous environments until we got to the present day. Having so much time to adapt and change means you've had some, interesting appearances. And starting off is the Stegodon. These big guys are famous for having proportionally long tusks with splayed ends. And despite being larger than most elephants, that's pretty much it. However, they are one of the few members of Proboscidea to experience insular dwarfism, specifically in Japan and the Philippines. And you'll see, they're not the only elephant relatives to shrink in size. And the most popular genus of prehistoric elephants has experienced the same thing. Mammoths were widespread across Eurasia, North America, and even Africa. The most popular is the woolly mammoth, which is famous for enduring the coldest winters the Ice Age had to offer. Then there's the steppe mammoth, the biggest beast on the block, found in a similar range to their woolly descendants. Then you have the Channel Islands mammoths, which are also known as the pygmy mammoths, and they stood less than 2/3 of the size of their titanic cousins. And then you have the African mammoth. Not the most original name, but at least they come from Africa. This is a Colombian mammoth. Guess where they don't live? Of course, there are also mastodons, and you're probably wondering what the difference is between them and mammoths. Well, a major difference between these two is their teeth. Mammoths have flat molars similar to modern-day elephants, while mastodons had teeth with cone-shaped cusps on them. This has to do with their feeding styles, as mammoths are grazers like modern elephants, and mastodons were browsers like a black rhino. Honestly, the best way to tell them apart is that mastodons look like if you stretched a mammoth in Photoshopped and then dropped an anvil on its head. Now, while definitely different from modern elephants, these two are relatively simple in their design. This thing, however, definitely is not. This droopy-tusked titan is Dinotherium, and if you wanted proof that it's one of the most unusual elephants in the world, scientists initially thought that it was a strange type of tapir or even an unusual kind of manatee. But of course, it's neither, and we now know that they were a proboscidean related to early forms like Merotherium. The defining trait of Dinotherium is their curved tusks on their bottom mandible, which are believed to help move pesky branches out of the way as they get to the fruit and leaves they eat. But honestly, my favorite thing about them is their long legs, which are believed to help them run faster. And something arguably stranger than these lanky legs is these spiral tusks. This is Cuvieronius, a gomphotherid elephant that lived in both South and North America. But they are also known as the mountain or highland gomphothere because their first remains were found in the Andes Mountains. Those strange tusks are actually normal looking in the fossils, but in life they had an enamel band that gave them this iconic spiral shape. It's not the only elephant relative with strange tusks either. This is Stegotetrabelodon. Mouthful of a name aside, these elephant relatives are famous for having not one, but two pairs of tusks. One where you expect them, and one on their lower jaw. Also, these guys might strike a nostalgia nerve if you ever saw the live-action Lord of the Rings movies, because the designs of the Mumakil or Olifants were based on prehistoric elephants like Stegotetrabelodon. And I don't know what their temperament was like, but it probably wasn't too far off from the movies. But Stegotetrabelodon is definitely not the strangest elephant on the roster because this thing exists. Platybelodon is a perfect example of how strange prehistoric animals can get. They're also known as the shovel tusker for obvious reasons. Those teeth on the lower jaw are actually a specialized flattened tusk that give it a spoon-like look to it. In fact, scientists originally assumed that they used these tusks to scoop up water plants. However, looking at the wear patterns of these teeth, these behemoths may have used these things to slice through vegetation. So basically, think less shovel and more scythe. However, these guys don't even have the biggest tusks. That honor belongs to my favorite prehistoric elephant, Paleoloxodon, the largest land mammal to ever live, weighing around 19 tons and standing at 12 to 13 feet tall. Being so large and having the largest tusks of all proboscideans known also means that they have the largest teeth of any animal. And I imagine those did not feel good when they gored a possible threat. There were several members of the Paleoloxodon genus, and the Sicilian dwarf elephant is definitely the smallest. How are you related to the biggest land mammal on Earth, yet you're the size of a small dog? But unfortunately, like these elephants, this video is now over. Not because I named every prehistoric elephant, there's like 70 of them, I'm just gonna end it right here. But honestly, this was just a fun way for me to talk about prehistoric elephants. Wait, is it narcissistic talking about your interests on your birthday? I really hope not. But that's it for now, and tune in next time when I draw a sauropod, which will either be a Diplodocus or a Brachiosaurus. Actually, what if I don't do that? What if I subvert your expectations and draw like an Amargasaurus or something? Well, that's it for now. See you around.